What if landing the role of a lifetime actually derailed your entire future? For Jack Gleeson, stepping into Joffrey Baratheon's poisoned crown on Game of Thrones turned him into an overnight sensation, and then, just as quickly, into a ghost in Hollywood. Fans whispered that playing the ultimate villain had cursed his career forever. But hold on, because the real story is way more layered than that. It's about a young actor grappling with fame's dark side, rediscovering his passion on his own terms, and proving that no single character defines you. Stay with me as we break it all down, starting from the character's roots in the books, moving to the intense moments on and off screen, and exploring how Gleason turned things around in real life.
I am the king! I will punish you.
Let us begin with the character who started it all, Joffrey Baratheon, the young king who made everyone watching want to throw something at their TV. In George R.R. Martin's book series, A Song of Ice and Fire, Joffrey first appears in the opening novel, A Game of Thrones, as a 12-year-old boy with handsome features that hide a truly nasty personality. He is presented as the spoiled son of Queen Cersei Lannister and the supposed heir to King Robert Baratheon. Right from the early chapters, Martin shows Joffrey's cruel side during an incident on the Kingsroad while the royal family travels north. Joffrey gets into a fight with Arya Stark and her commoner friend, Micah, who is just a butcher's boy playing with sticks. In the book, Joffrey pulls out his real sword and attacks them, but when Arya's direwolf Nymeria bites his arm to protect her, Joffrey lies about the whole thing to make himself look like the victim. As a result, Micah is chased down and killed by the Hound on Cersei's command, and even worse, Sansa Stark's innocent direwolf lady is ordered to be executed despite having done nothing wrong. Ned Stark has to carry out the killing himself, which breaks everyone's heart. This moment perfectly captures Joffrey's character in the books. He is a child raised without any real discipline, showered with Lannister riches and his mother's overprotection, while his father figure Robert mostly ignores him. Martin writes him as someone shaped by his environment, blending immaturity with a growing sense of unchecked power that turns him into a dangerous tyrant, as the story goes on in later books like A Clash of Kings. When HBO adapted the books into the Game of Thrones TV series, they made some changes that intensified Joffrey's villainy and made him even more unforgettable. In the show, Joffrey is aged up to around 16 years old when viewers first meet him, which removes some of the childish excuses from the books and makes his actions feel more deliberately evil. Jack Gleeson, who was 18 at the time of his audition, stepped into the role and brought a chilling edge to it. The Kingsroad incident plays out similarly, but with added visual punch. The lie leads directly to Lady's death by the riverbank, with Ned swinging the sword while Joffrey watches without a hint of remorse. Gleason's performance shines through in that smug expression and cold stare, setting the tone early. As the seasons continue, the show diverges in ways that heighten the horror. For example, in the books, many of Joffrey's brutal acts towards Sansa, like having her beaten after her brother Robb wins battles, are described through reports or happen off the page. But in the series, especially in Season 2's episode called Garden of Bones, viewers see it all firsthand. Joffrey points a crossbow at a prostitute named Rose and threatens to shoot her, unless Sansa complies with his demands, which is a scene created for the show, but inspired by the book's hints of his sadistic side. Another standout moment comes after the Battle of Blackwater in Season 2, where Joffrey orders Sansa stripped and beaten in the throne room in front of everyone. Gleason delivers lines with a twisted laugh, commanding the knight to hit harder while his uncle, Tyrion Lannister, tries to intervene. George R.R. Martin himself has commented that the TV version stripped away some of the book's subtle hints at Joffrey's youth, making him a purer monster that audiences despised even more. Now let us talk about the actor who made this character so real and terrifying. Jack Gleeson did not just fall into acting by accident, he pursued it from a very young age. He was born in 1992 in Cork, Ireland, and by the time he was 8 years old, he had joined a local theatre workshop to learn the craft. His first on-screen roles came soon after, including a small part as a frightened child in the 2002 movie Reign of Fire, where he shared scenes with big stars like Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey in a world overrun by dragons. A few years later, in 2005, he appeared briefly in Batman Begins as a young boy in an orphanage, showing his ability to convey emotion even in tiny moments. As he grew older, Gleeson took on more substantial parts in Irish independent films. In 2007, he starred in the horror movie Shrooms as a teenager experiencing terrifying hallucinations in the forest, and in 2009, he played an orphan searching for belonging in the emotional drama A Shine of Rainbows. His real breakthrough in indie circles came in 2010 with All Good Children, where he portrayed a troubled, almost feral young boy living with his brother after a family tragedy. Critics at film festivals praised his intense and natural performance, calling him a standout talent. All of that experience prepared Gleeson for the big opportunity when auditions for Game of Thrones began in 2010. At 18, he went through several rounds of tryouts, performing key scenes like Joffrey's arguments with his uncle Tyrion. The show's creators, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, chose him from hundreds of actors because he captured the perfect blend of charm and menace. To get ready for the role, Gleeson immersed himself completely. He read all the available books in the series, marking every reference to Joffrey, from his mocking comments during King Robert's fatal hunting accident in A Game of Thrones to his explosive outbursts at his own wedding in A Storm of Swords. Gleeson researched real-life figures with similar traits, like entitled rulers or sociopaths, and drew inspiration from movie characters, such as the whiny Emperor Commodus played by Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator. He worked on Joffrey's voice, creating a high-pitched, nasal tone that matched the book's descriptions of him sounding shrill and spoiled. Physically, he adjusted his posture to seem arrogant and commanding, practicing in front of mirrors to perfect that infamous sneer. When filming started in locations like Belfast, Northern Ireland, Gleeson fully transformed into the character, leaving his own personality behind. Life on the Game of Thrones set was demanding and often uncomfortable, but Gleeson handled it like a professional. The production took place in tough environments, such as rainy fields standing in for the King's Road or cold stone halls for the royal court in King's Landing. Off-camera, his co-stars spoke highly of him. Lena Headey, who played Cersei, described him as a kind person, and Sophie Turner as Sansa said he was thoughtful even though their scenes involved him being cruel to her character. However, staying in Joffrey's mindset required going to some dark places mentally. In Season 3's episode The Climb, Joffrey ties up Rose and shoots her with crossbow bolts for fun, a gruesome addition not directly from the books but building on Martin's implications of Joffrey's off-page tortures. Gleeson had to remain emotionless during those intense shoots, even as the crew reacted strongly. The highlight, or lowlight, for his character came in Season 4 with the Purple Wedding, where Joffrey dies choking on poisoned wine during his marriage feast to Margaery Tyrell. In the book A Storm of Swords, it happens amid a chaotic celebration, with Joffrey clawing at his throat after humiliating Tyrion and cutting into a pie filled with live doves. The show recreates it faithfully, complete with the swelling face, desperate gasps, and final accusatory point at Tyrion. Filming that took several days, with Gleeson covered in special makeup for the purple veins and fake blood, performing convulsions repeatedly. George R.R. Martin visited the set, and later expressed concern that the role's darkness might make Gleeson want to leave acting altogether. But Gleeson described the death scene as a relief, a way to finally let out all the pent-up energy from playing such a hateful person for years. As Game of Thrones grew into a massive hit from seasons 2 through 4 between 2012 and 2014, Gleeson's fame exploded when he was still in his early 20s. He received awards and nominations, including recognition from the Screen Actors Guild and wins for Best TV Villain at events like the MTV Movie Awards. Fans at conventions cheered when actors pretended to punish Joffrey, and online, people shared memes celebrating his character's demise. However, the downside of that attention became overwhelming. Gleeson was trying to live a normal life, studying philosophy at Trinity College in Dublin, but strangers would yell insults from the books, like calling him a bastard or false king, confusing the actor with the role. In interviews around 2012, he began hinting that the constant spotlight was wearing him down, saying that while acting was enjoyable, the business side of it felt like too much pressure. By the time Joffrey's death aired in 2014, Gleeson decided to step away from screen acting entirely at age 22. Speculation spread that fan hatred or being typecast as a villain had forced him out, but years later, in 2025 during promotions for a new project, Gleeson explained it was not about abuse from viewers. He simply stopped enjoying acting when it turned into a full-time obligation rather than a passion, and he needed time to rediscover himself without the constant recognition. Those years away from the spotlight were not wasted. Gleeson stayed creative in quieter ways. He helped start a theatre group called Collapsing Horse Theatre Company in Dublin with some friends, where they produced original, offbeat plays. One of their shows, Bears in Space, was a funny story about astronauts dealing with deep questions about life, using puppets and humour, and it performed at festivals like the Edinburgh Fringe and even made it to stages in New York. He also directed and acted in pieces like Monster Clock, which explored ideas about time through strange, imaginative storytelling. This theatre work allowed him to experiment without the high stakes of big TV productions, small crowds, live reactions, and no need for perfect takes. Gleeson has said that the immediacy of performing on stage, where you connect directly with the audience, felt freeing compared to the long waits and edits of filming. He even took on fun low-key jobs like hosting charity events at his university, helping him stay connected to people without the fame machine. Eventually, Gleeson felt ready to return to screens, but on his own schedule. His comeback began in 2020 with a guest appearance in the British comedy series Out of Her Mind, where he played a friendly everyday guy in a light-hearted story, nothing like Joffrey. Then in 2023, things picked up speed. He starred alongside Liam Neeson in the Irish thriller In the Land of Saints and Sinners as a man haunted by his past in a remote village. That same year, he joined the final season of the Netflix show Sex Education as a character named Dodgy Mo, a sneaky real estate agent trying to scam the main characters with bad deals. Viewers were thrilled to see him in something humorous and different, with many commenting on how it felt like a fun twist on his old villain image. By 2025, Gleason's revival was in full swing with several high-profile projects. He took on the role of Puck, the playful and tricky fairy from Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, in 5 episodes of Netflix's The Sandman Season 2, bringing whimsy to a fantasy world of dreams. He has shared that he now selects roles that truly interest him, allowing him to explore new sides of his talent without feeling trapped. In the end, did playing Joffrey really destroy Jack Gleeson's career? Not at all. It launched him into the spotlight, challenged him in profound ways, and ultimately helped him learn what he values most in life and work. In Martin's books, Joffrey serves as a warning about how absolute power can corrupt someone unprepared for it. On the show, Gleeson's portrayal made the character an icon of hate. So what do you think? Was stepping away the smartest move he could have made, or should he have struck while the Iron Throne was hot? Drop your take in the comments below and tell me, which Joffrey moment, book or show, still makes your blood boil the most while you're here. Smash that like button if you're glad Jack's back on screen, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss the next deep dive into Game of Thrones lores. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.